I understand where agency owners are coming from, wanting to combine the roles. But I do think that it does an injustice to both seats to have them wrapped up in one, because the strategist should be spending their time on adding value from a fulfillment perspective. And account management can very quickly feel like an administrative afterthought, like additional load. And when nobody's dedicated to account management, they're not showing up with an intentional strategy.
The Happy Clients podcast is for agency owners who want to stop losing clients to poor communication, broken handoffs, and founder dependency, and start building the kind of retention that makes your agency scale. Every week, we pull back the curtain on what great client management actually looks like inside an agency. If you've ever wondered what it takes to remove yourself from client management without things falling apart, you're in the right place. Agency owners, your team is filling out timesheets from memory on Friday afternoon. That means the numbers you're making decisions from are wrong. Timeglass fixes that. It watches what your team is actually working on, drafts the timesheet automatically, and your team reviews and approves in about a minute. Accurate time, real profitability data, no nagging. Happy Clients listeners get 50% off for the first 3 months using code HAPPYCLIENTS. Check them out at timeglass.ai. Welcome back to the Happy Clients podcast, Tiff.
Good to be back. I'm excited to chat.
Maybe we're co-hosting now.
Ooh, okay, I'm down.
So today I want to talk about a question that agencies ask us all the time, which is, can an account manager be my strategist as well? And should they?
Yes, I was going to say can and should are very different things here.
Yeah. So we have our thoughts, but we would love to share kind of our thought process behind why we keep account management separate from strategy. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, Tiff.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I understand where agency owners are coming from, wanting to combine the roles. But I do think that it does an injustice to both seats to have them wrapped up in one, because the strategist should be spending their time on adding value from a fulfillment perspective. And account management can very quickly feel like an administrative afterthought, like additional load. And when nobody's dedicated to account management, they're not showing up with an intentional strategy. You're not going to blow your clients away and roll out the red carpet if no one's accountable to owning that seat in itself. It truly does feel like an afterthought very easily.
Yeah. And I think most people think they just need to remove themselves as the agency owner. So the agency owner is wearing all these hats and they think, oh, I'll just give this to one unicorn, and they can do account management. They can do strategy. They can execute the campaigns. But we all know that you're not doing anything well when you do that. And so we look at it as, if you give this role to an account manager, they're going to take 80% of that workload off of you. And then you can come in for the high level strategy, which is probably why you started the agency. You're probably really good at strategy, but you're probably not loving the account management.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think stop, undervaluing your time as an agency owner. I mean, you cost money. You cost a lot of money, and that's time that you could be spending on growth for the business and optimizing internal operations and acquiring new businesses, or stepping out and podcasting and creating content and gaining more visibility. And I think your time is very expensive, and you should pick the areas that matter most. And I think an agency owner can definitely carry strategy, but when they start owning client relationships, that's when they start becoming an afterthought.
Exactly. And the way I look at it is, if you were to bring in an account manager to also do strategy, they would need to be experts in that field. So maybe you do e-commerce for fashion brands. Well, this account manager, for them to do strategy, they would have to have years of experience working in fashion brands, e-com, to be able to do strategy. Whereas you can bring in an account manager who's an expert account manager in marketing. And then they can take 80% of that workload. Then you come in and bring your expertise, and you can speak to what's worked in the past, what's going to work in future from a strategy perspective. And then you can hand that over to your account manager to flush that out, to see that through, to make sure that projects run on time.
Yeah, entirely. And I'm curious because not a lot of agency owners have this perspective. Did you have some pivotal moment? Like, what experiences led you to taking on this mindset?
Yeah. Well, for me, I was running my own agency before starting Dot. And so I was an expert in certain areas. But there was a lot of industries that I didn't know anything about when it came to how to get them results. So I knew I could step in and learn from the strategist. I could learn what could work, what could not work. But I wasn't confident to step in and drive results for those clients in those specific industries. For example, I was working in a YouTube ads agency. And so I understood marketing and I could speak to the clients from what results mean to them and how we're going to take the ads and get them results. But I didn't know how to go on the back end of YouTube and create campaigns, or I didn't know what videos, how they had to be formatted to get the best results and to tweak and to, how to drive that creative direction. Yeah. But I could take it from the strategy team and make sure it's executed well and that clients feel taken care of and that, at the end of the day, we are getting them results. But I didn't feel confident building YouTube campaigns for clients.
Yeah. It's almost a reframing of what adds value to a client engagement. And a lot of agency owners feel like you can only add value by giving them hands-on expertise.
Yeah.
But a lot of clients, they don't even understand and that like what they're talking about. And from a heavily strategic perspective, maybe it doesn't land well and you could be doing incredible things for a client. But if it's not getting translated in a way that's meaningful, it really doesn't matter if you put all your experts lined up and they're dedicated to every client call. If that client's not getting approached in a way that resonates with them in a conversational, like personal way, then it doesn't matter. And so maybe we're not framing up account management in a way that matters from a client's perspective when we look at making CAMs strategists.
Yep. And how we look at account management is we want our account managers to have a business lens. So when they're speaking to clients, they understand what matters to those clients. So it's not just how many clicks the ad got. It's what are the end results and what does that mean for them, their business, their life. And so our account managers are taking that approach versus digging into every detail of the campaign that doesn't matter to that client. The client wants results. And that's what we want to make sure we navigate.
Yeah. I feel like we talk a lot about instilling the deeper why behind the client. Every client's, stepping into the engagement to achieve something different. Yes, a lot want, growth and scalability, but some want to buy back time for their life. Like some want a heavier, engagement with their kids, or they want to invest in other businesses. Or I talked with an agency owner a while back and he was like, I'm like a web dev geek. And I honestly, I just want to spend my time creating apps and I'd love to just sit in that bubble and not get pulled out all the time. Every client is not trying to achieve the same thing. And so we have to approach sharing the value of the results in a unique way for everyone.
Exactly. And I think that as an agency owner, your goal feels so close to you. And so when they come to us and they say, I just need an account manager. Yeah. And they think, I want them to do all the things and then I'm going to run away and replace me. And then they have conversations with us and they leave saying, oh, okay, if I could just take the big chunk of that effort off my plate, well, then maybe I would still love to do strategy. I would still love to do web dev. I would still love to talk to clients about how we're going to get them results and then leave, not have homework, not be in every Slack channel, not be getting texts at 10 p.m. If I didn't have any of that, well, then maybe I would enjoy it again. And that's where we want to get agency owners to.
So what would you say to an agency owner maybe who has strategists on their team that also own account management? How do they, scale that business, and does our model still work for them?
Yeah. I would say that most of the time in these instances, you're giving your strategist their job back. Because strategists are there because they love the game of marketing. They love getting clients results. They love strategize. They are very smart people. And when they come into your agency, that's what they expect to be working on. But then you give them this huge workload of managing account management and the expectations of retention, communication, happiness, onboarding clients, building processes and systems. They get so in the weeds of the day-to-day client that they're not able to focus on strategy. So I look at it as, if you have this really brilliant strategist, let them do strategy all day long.
Yeah.
And then bring in an account manager to handle all of the work that comes with that strategy. And from a business perspective, how many more clients could you take on?
Yeah.
And are you getting those clients better results because your strategist is actually working on what they need to be working on?
Yeah. Your strategist is focused on delivering better performance. And then you have an account manager that's dedicated to the retention and growth of those accounts. And maybe they have that mindset that's, cross-selling and upselling within other services that your strategist just didn't have the bandwidth to focus on all of that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's team happiness, but really results at the end of the day.
Yeah. And honestly, it is a cost-effective solution. And I think when we stop picturing account management as just a cost center and overhead, then we understand that it unlocks a lot more opportunity for business growth and growth of every account that comes through the door.
Yeah, exactly. So most agencies that we work with, either the agency owner is still doing strategy. I would say that's majority.
Yeah.
And then I would say like 30% of the agencies we work with have dedicated strategists. So our engagement can look different within each of those situations. But at the end of the day, our goal is client management, making sure that the entire client experience is 11 out of 10. And then the strategists focus on getting the results.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, if this resonated with you, maybe you're looking to bring in a strategist, but you've realized, oh, maybe I just need to bring in an account manager, and maybe the next stage is strategy. That's definitely something we can help with. So we'll link everything below where you can chat with us further, and we'd love to learn more about your agency and see how we can help.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Taylor.
Yay. Thanks.
Cheers to happy clients.